Goodbye, John. All right, so today I wanted to talk about a concept in a very technical manner, okay? And I think a lot of you are going to benefit from this. So the other day, right, I went to this pizza place with my relatives and whatnot, right? And we're just eating down, we're waiting for the pizza. So we ordered like appetizers or something, and it was a salad, right, in pasta form, I think. A lot of cream. Yeah, it looked good, bro. But we ordered it, and I took my fork, okay? And what was going on in my mind was like, damn, bro, this looks fire. Like, I'm going to eat this whole, like, this looks hot. This looks good. I'm going to eat this up. I took my fork, took the first bite, bro. Took the first bite, and my mouth, my face went. And I just looked at my uncle. I was like, this is cold. Why'd you order this cold? And he was like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. It's salad, bro. Like, maybe I'm just a dumbass for thinking that, to be honest. But, like, I don't eat a lot of salad, so I wouldn't know. And it wasn't really a salad either. It was just full of pasta. So I was just kind of confused. And then in that moment, bro, I thought about something I've talked about before. But now I'm going to have a different approach on it. A more technical one, which if you think like that, I think this will help you out. It's expectation, okay? Now, I've made a video about expectation before, but this is going to be a little bit different, okay? So let's break down that scenario. I know it seems like a stupid scenario, like, hey, Shay, why are you breaking down, like, you eating a salad or some shit, bro? Like, I don't want to hear that, but, like, listen, okay, this is very important, and you'll see why. I took my fork, right, and while I was trying to, like, while I was holding my fork, in my mind, I thought, this salad is going to be warm. Because usually I eat pasta warm, so I'm like, okay, this is going to be a nice, not warm, actually, hot. Nice hot pasta salad thingy, right? And I was like, okay, let me take a bite out of this. And as soon as I, like, put in my mouth, pause, right? And it was cold, and I just cringed, right? What I realized that my expectation for what the pasta should be was far from the reality of what the pasta was. Does that make sense? My expectation, what was going on in my mind, was the pasta was hot. I took a bite. Pasta was cold as shit. Okay? Didn't taste very good. Now, what happens as a result of this? Because I expected something and reality was completely and utterly different, it prevented me from eating a pasta, which basically was an action, right? Because me eating pasta is an action, which prevented me from filling my belly, I guess, right? And eating as much as I should have. Now, what might have happened if I expected differently in that scenario? Maybe I would have eaten more pasta, possibly pasta salad, maybe. There's also the possibility of my bias and the fact that I might just not like that kind of pasta. And so I would have just dropped it then either way. But I think I would have eaten a little bit more. Even though I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, I think I would have eaten a little bit more if my expectation was more about, like, oh, it's going to be on the colder side, right? And so now I applied this to a lot of scenarios that one can go through that are more important than eating pasta, okay? So I thought about, okay, just what if, and most of you have probably done this before, you went to a situation or something happened, or maybe it was a person, and you were expecting something. Think about a scenario where you might have expected something. Not like a gift, right? Not in that manner. That's like you can use that one. It's an obvious one, but I'm talking about anything. Like you expected to have a certain emotion in a certain scenario, or you expected to get some physical thing from someone, or it could be anything, right? What ends up happening is if that expectation is not met, right? Then it can affect your mood. It can affect your mood drastically. And I think the bigger the difference between your expectation and your reality, the more it can affect your mood. Now, what's so bad about it affecting our mood, right? Let's be honest, bro. If you know me and you, especially previous versions of us, right? How many times have we not done something because we didn't feel like it? Too many goddamn times. That's the answer, right? So it just makes you think, okay, if you expected one thing and out comes a completely different thing in reality, that can affect your mood, which then thereby affect your actions. Now it's like, okay, if they can affect your actions, like, well, why does that matter so much? It's like, if it affects your actions, then it might just stop you doing the very thing that you should be doing. Like, I know I always say that and it sounds very, very vague, but let's think about what that could be. Maybe that could be your work. Maybe that could be your homework. Maybe that could be going to the gym. That could literally be anything. Any positive habit, maybe even meditation. It could be quite literally anything, right? So it's like, how do you mitigate that? How do you remove that? How is it that you can go about expecting the pasta to be cold, right? How can you do that? But in reality, the thing is, I couldn't have known how cold the pasta would have been. I couldn't have known that, right? Let's use like precise numbers. Let's say it was like, I don't know, like a room temperature, but I was off by 2 or 3 degrees or something like that. Like, you're never going to get it exactly right? Your expectation is not always going to be reality. Like, it'd be a joke to think that whatever it is that you expect, you're going to hit that exact mark in reality. That's what I'm saying. So if the pasta's like, I don't know, like 6 degrees below room temperature, and I'm eating it, if I'm supposed to, for those of you who think in numbers, right? Because if it's 6 degrees below room temperature, I'm supposed to be able to perfectly predict that so that my expectation matches my reality. And therefore, then it influences my mood, because my mood will just be neutral at that point because I was expecting it, right? And now it's just like, okay, maybe I'm willing to eat it more. Maybe I'm not going to eat the entire thing, of course, but I'm willing to eat it more, and I think that's what counts. So if you kind of think about that, that's unrealistic. You can't expect all the time. You won't be able to expect things and match them with reality. Especially if you're new at something, you won't be able to do that. So then what do? It's like, you don't expect anything at all. You don't expect anything at all. I think that's the best way to go about it, because I've talked about this before. I've talked about the concept of expectation and reality in terms of buildings, right? So imagine there's 2 buildings. Let me prop my phone up like this. This might help. Imagine there's 2 buildings. One building is expectation and you're standing upon it. The second building is reality. Now, the reason you're standing on expectation is because you control the expectation, right? So if your expectation matches your reality, the 2 buildings, you're going to be able to walk straight through. No interruptions, right? Assuming, of course, there's no gap. You know, some smart ass is going to say, oh, there's a gap in the middle, you're going to fall down. It's like, okay, yeah, cool, bro. But get my point, right? But let's say your expectation is up here and your reality is down here. Where you're gonna look down and you're gonna drop down to reality, right? Because that's how that works. Because when I ate that pasta, I was like, oh shit. Like I was hit with that experience of eating the pasta. So you experience reality, which means you drop down, and that shit's gonna hurt. Because remember, I was talking about the two building scenarios, right? This is expectation, this is reality. If you jump down, bro, you literally just like KMS'd, right? That's not great. But if we think about that in a more like emotional way, right? That's gonna mediate your mood, and depending on the difference between your expectation and your reality, it's going to, you know, drastically change your mood by like this much, right? So, but what if you have the opposite of that? What if you have expectation down here and reality up here? It's like now you're gonna look at reality in awe. It's like it's very tall. Like it's almost like admiring a beautiful skyscraper, like the Burj Khalifa. Like you're standing on the ground, and what does that mean? What does that mean when you're standing on the ground, when you're not standing on top of any built building at all? It means that you haven't built your expectation up. You're standing on nothing because you're not expecting anything. So then when reality shows itself, it's like, well, you can't go below the ground, right? It's like, oh, if I'm expecting nothing, then anything that happens in reality is like a bonus. It's just there. It's nice. It's great. So if I expected nothing from that pasta, then, you know, I might not have ate the whole thing, of course, because I do have my personal biases. I do enjoy like eating different kinds of foods, prefer one more than the other, but I might have eaten more. I would have eaten more. And so the reason I talk about this concept is because if you learn to not expect anything at all from anything that you like try doing, that's like maybe like a new food, maybe like something work related, maybe something that's like actually important, like meditation or the gym or things like that, then I think you can learn to then, when you get the results that you do in reality, right? So what does reality look like when you don't expect anything? It's like you can only go up from there, in my opinion. You can only go up from there. So yeah, sorry, brain fart. So now that you have that, it's like the third thing. Okay, this is going to affect my mood in a positive way now, because now I'm going now I'm just going up because I'm ground floor, right? My expectation isn't there and my reality is like sky high. So now I think that's just like naturally what we do as humans. Like we see things, instead of getting like one piece of candy, we get 5 pieces of candy. We're like, oh shit, like damn, bro, like I'm happy about that, right? You know, you're happy about that. So that's kind of cool. And then as a result of that, you're willing to do that action more. It's like positive reinforcement, right? You're getting rewarded, essentially. And how are you getting rewarded? Just by reframing your mind in the way you expect things, which is not expecting anything at all. Because you're not going to be able to perfectly line up your expectations with your reality all the time. Now, there is a different concept in which this concept of expectation kind of wavers, which is like friendships. Like, shouldn't you be able to expect things out of your friends and things like that? And I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think that's a matter of having standards for your friendships, because people fall down to the standards rather than rise up to your expectations. So I'm going to make a whole nother video on that, but I think I need to kind of go into that topic deeper within my mind to really know what it is that I'm talking about, because I'm kind of losing myself when I talk about that, even more than I usually do. You're like, bro, Shay, you already lose yourself in your videos. Like, you're losing yourself more even on this concept. It's like, yeah, bro, this shit's complicated as hell. Like, I can't. And, you know, maybe even if I don't have the perfect perspective on it, maybe I'll just share it anyway in another video, just so I could see y'all's perspectives on it instead, because I think that's always valuable. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Like, keeping your expectations at ground zero, I think, can help you do a lot of things. And sometimes people might see that as pessimistic, but I see it as like almost ultra realism and more like stoic, I guess. And yeah, I think it'll help you result in you doing some of the actions that you know you should be doing more often. So yeah, that's all I got for you. Peace. Take it easy.